I knew that exactly, Mark. I'm just having fun. But no,
right,
that's so cool.
right,
I want to find out
right.
who this Seth Godin. I
Well,
want to find out.
I hope he didn't take offense to it because
No, he didn't, Mike. He didn't. I'm kidding. That's the thing about Talking Metal. We're not super serious. We're not like, hi, I'm Tom Brokaw here to talk about your new album. You know, it's great.
yeah.
Tell us about the songs. You know, we're not that. We're the guys from Talking Metal. I mean, I'm kind of a dorky guy with round blue glasses, and you know, that's just the way it is. You know?
Right. You got the shaded glasses. I got, the thing, I started wearing the shaded glasses now too.
I like
the
that.
thing that's great again about them is they hide the dark circles that have developed under my eyes for some odd reason. I don't. I guess I'm just getting old. But
See,
I like them. I actually think they make me look younger when I wear glasses.
I think
people are like, oh,
and you got good hair all the time, so you're fine. You're all set, Mark. In my opinion, you're set.
Thank you. And John, we have
that Randy Rhoads poster there. I don't think I ever noticed that. Is that new? I know you had that poster, but did you just hang it up right there?
What's that?
The Randy Rhoads poster. Did you just put it there?
We moved it. It was on the other side of the basement. Emily redesigned the basement, so now there is a TV area down here where she watches her shows, the Crown and stuff. And Grant comes down here a lot and hangs out, listening to music and watching shows and doing his games. And my older son Harrison, he's just on Fortnite any second that he can, which is all the rage with the preteen boys nowadays, and I guess teenage boys too. So anyways, we have coming up
thing is great.
We have David Ellefson and Drew Fortier. They're going to be coming on real soon. I'm not sure if they're quite ready yet, but they're ready. Okay, so we are going to bring them on right now. David Ellefson and Drew Fortier. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey guys.
Good. How you doing? How are you?
Thanks for coming on tonight, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. You guys are like all professionals, like being on NBC or something. This is press, man. It's funny. We just talked like 2 months ago, maybe 2-3 months ago.
I think it was probably closer to 3 months ago, David. But yeah, we did just talk. You were one of our earlier guests when we started doing the stream, and we've definitely stepped it up a notch here with some great people like Marcy and Jonathan and Andrew helping us out, Michael and the crew there, Sophia. So thank you for noticing that, and so great to have you guys on. Drew, so nice to meet you.
You too.
Thanks for lining this up.
We're also friends on Facebook.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Yeah. So thank you both, and David, it's great to see you. Now, David, let me just start out by saying you are involved in so many amazing projects. Like just when I think you can't be doing another project, you're doing another great project. And now you and Drew have a great book out. It's coming out, and that's one of the reasons you guys are both here tonight to talk about that.
Yeah, probably my next project will be Christmas, which will be much needed break to have. At some point I need to shut up and go away for a while, probably. But yeah, it's funny. Drew and I, we've been friends now for several years, and I guess I met Drew through Tom Hazart, and we do a lot of other stuff, our label and coffee and stuff together. But the idea hit me about exactly a year ago when I was on a solo tour across South America. The idea hit me to write a fiction book, and I called Drew right away because he's finishing up a film that we're putting out through Ellefson Films called Dwellers. And so I know how twisted and sick Drew's mind is, and I go, dude, I got a book concept. I need you to jump in on it. So we just finished this thing up, which is coming out actually on the 18th, December 18th. So yeah, we're doing a little pandemic book tour. So thank you for inviting us over.
And thank you guys. And so the book is called Rockstar Hitman, and it's about a rock musician who does he make a deal, like is it almost like making a deal with like some nefarious people who cause him to become a hitman and actually go out and kill people? That's
exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. So, and it's funny because there's a lot of these sub layers, and Drew and I being musicians, of course, and it's I always liken it to John Grisham. He writes awesome fiction, but he blooms where he planted, which is he's a lawyer. So he writes these great sort of law thrillers. So we're writing rock star thrillers, and as if our life isn't thrilling enough. being artists and musicians, you know, and also the subcontext, like you almost said, signing a deal with the devil, you know, the nefarious people of our business that so many people, you know, sign these deals, and we all have at some point thinking, well, it's just a stepping stone to get over there, and you know, those deals always come with some sort of backlash, and this one involves him being a hitman. So and that's where we had a lot of fun writing this, because of course you can kind of draw from some of your own personal, almost autobiographical experiences, and of course it's a totally fictional story, but you know, you kind of can write from that. Drew and I, not having been hitmen before, you know, we can
at least as far as we know.
Yeah, right, exactly. As far as you know, we have not. So, but you know, to go and have fun exploring, you know, that whole thing. Of course, we've all read enough books and seen enough, you know, Bond and Jason Bourne movies and fun stuff, you know. But it's fun to just kind of really go down that road, and we've been having a good time writing this one, and you know, setting up a series. We're calling it the Sledge Chronicles. Sledge is the main character of the book. So it's going to be a series of books, and that's kind of fun to start with that, knowing that there's a lineage that's going to happen with the book series.
Right. And let me ask you, Drew, how about throw one over to you? How does the writing process work? Do you guys exchange ideas via email, or do you actually get on the phone or Zoom and talk it out? How does the writing process come when you're coming up with this story?
It's a little bit of all that, actually. I mean, when he first hit me about it, I wrote out this prologue, this kind of like laying out the whole thing, just painting the picture and everything, and I sent it to him, and he really, 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 really liked it. And he's like, you know, I think we should just take this and just expand upon this and make that the book. And it was so much fun to do. But yeah, typically we would just bounce ideas off each other via text, email, phone calls. And once we get one idea going, though, it just kind of just avalanches into something really cool. And yeah, and another fun part about the whole thing too was kind of seeing how far I could take a lot of the murder in the book. You know, like this to see where it's like when's the you know, the peak where it's like, all right, Drew, I think that's enough blood and gore and terrible things. But surprisingly, that never happened. I would actually try and, you know, take a certain scene in the book and see, it's like, okay, let's see how messed up we can make this. And by the time I was done writing it, I was like, oh, I'm going to have trouble sleeping tonight. And then I show it to Dave, and he was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Put it in the book. And I was like, what? So
only Drew can murder a guy who's already murdered.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly. And so the goal for the goal for the next book is to try and get to that point where Dave's like, no, Drew, we can't put that in the book. What's the matter with you?
Right on. And then if a book wasn't enough, you're also working on, or have maybe already completed a movie, right? Dwellers. So let's talk about that. When can we expect to see that, and where are we with the production of it?
Well, with Dwellers, it's a found footage horror movie, kind of in the vein of Blair Witch. You know, so it's all from the perspective of the documentary camera. And the best way I could describe it is Blair Witch meets Chud. Chud was this 80s horror movie about sewer monsters and government conspiracies and all that and everything. And it's just about finished, just a couple of tiny slight audio things, but it's just about done. And David, we're going to be screening it in February, correct?
Yeah, February 20th at the Mad Monster Horror Con in Charlotte, North Carolina. That'll be the final. Yeah, the official release.
And I've had a great time at that horror con.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we wanted to find a platform like that. And of course, in 2020, everything shut down. I did do a Mad Monster show here in Phoenix. They did one back, I think it was in October. And that was sort of the test, you know, to see if they could socially distance, kind of limit the number of tickets sold, and it worked well. It came off successful, so they're pushing ahead now to do the one in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's February 20th, and so they've given us the platform to do the premiere, and it's fun. You know, I've been to obviously appeared at a lot of Comic Cons and horror cons, and the horror con thing works better with metal. You know, the fan base is very synonymous.
No doubt about it.
So. And it's fun, you know, getting invited to do these. It's fun to bring something to the table. You know, it's you know, when you get invited over to someone's house, bring, I don't know, some, you know, a main course, some beer, cookies, whatever, something, a dessert, you know, bring something. So it's kind of fun to go to these horror cons and not just be a famous guy appearing there and, doing autographs, but, bringing a book, that we can be rolling out and talking about, bringing a film, and even the Rockstar Hitman series, is very much written in the mind that it could be screenplayed at some point. So, it's nice to, again, be thinking about the end in mind rather than just sort of randomly spitting out, content. It's cool. And then with the Ellefson Book Company and Ellefson Films, and of course EMP Label Group, we've got all the platforms of the, the book, the obviously the audio and the visual part of it all we've at least got the platforms in place to roll this stuff out now.
So
Very
that's
cool.
great. So will there be an audio book as well that's accompanying the physical book?
Yep. It's there's an audio book, and which I narrated, and I forgot, Drew, did you narrate some of that? We did this a couple months ago. I forgot.
I just did the very beginning and the very end.
That's
I just
right.
kind of did the introduction and the outro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that'll be available on the Audible ASICS platform. So that goes across, of course, all the digital outlets. BNN.com, which is the Barnes & Noble platform. That's where you can order both the hard and the soft cover, as well as I think Kindle is available there as well, right, Drew?
And there is a paperback available on Amazon as well. I put that up so you could get that there also as a physical copy.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I really like and just can envision happening is the Chronicles, becoming its own thing. Like, so like, years from now, people can say, well, I like what happened in book 2. No, I like what happened when he did this in book 4. Like, I think that's one of the most exciting things, because this thing is going to live on, and then people are going to have their favorites. And it's almost like a Star Wars kind of, like, everybody's going to know, like, there'll be experts in this era and experts in that era. And I'm excited by that. I think you guys really hit on something that's cool.
That's cool. Well, thank you. And the other thing is, of course, because he's an artist and he's a musician, he's going to be traveling the world. So that leaves all kinds of great, terrible things to happen, and espionage and all kinds of international crimes. And, the people of ill repute aren't limited to just, California. He's going out around the world. So so that's, it's a beautiful thing, and I like how you think, and I appreciate you thinking big like that, because that's how we started this whole thing.
And I do want to talk music with you guys a bit, but before we do that, Drew, now you were in a movie that recently came out. Her Name Was Christa. Can you talk a little bit about that, where we could actually see it?
Absolutely. Her Name Was Christa. The best way I could describe it is the most romantic necrophilia story ever told. The first hour and a half's a wonderful romantic movie with some comedy and some, horror overtones, and then it takes a really hard left turn for the last half an hour. And that was directed by James L. Edwards, who's also in Dwellers. And you could get that on Amazon. You could get that on diabolicdvd.com and everything. And then I play a character named Nick Perkins, who kind of works in this office area with the main character. And the main character is a lonely middle-aged fella, and he's single. And I just try and egg him on to be like, hey, get out there. Come on, what's the matter with you? And I eventually get him to, get a prostitute, and he falls in love with the prostitute. and that's where the love story blossoms. It's very rock and roll, if you will. But yeah, everybody who I've recommended it to check out, they report back to me. They're like, that was incredibly messed up, but I really, 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 really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend it to you guys who want to check it out. I can send you guys some screeners if you want to view it. And it's, I think you guys would really, really like it, though. I think you guys.
Well, I watched the trailer, and I tell you, whoever the actor is, that's cast in the main role there, the bald-headed guy,
James,
just really, even in the trailer, he comes across like there's something unsettling about his performance.
He kind of looks like the BTK killer in the movie too, a little bit.
Yeah. So I do look forward to seeing that.
Drew, I have a question for you, and I hope I hope I didn't read this wrong. Did you meet your wife while doing this movie?
I proposed to her on the set of the movie. Actually, I got James, the director, to hire her as a featured extra that interacts with my character, and so it was like the last shot of the night. and like 4:30 in the morning, we were all miserable, and I see something really, really messed up, and her character turns around and like kind of reacts to me. It's like, what's wrong with you? So we play it out, and she turns around, last take, and I'm pop the question. And it's actually on YouTube if you want to check it out, the proposal.
Okay, I definitely will. That's awesome. That's great.
Thank you.
Cool. And
Art reflects reality with that one.
Yeah.
That's hardcore, man.
So David, we've been hearing about new Megadeth music in the works. Where are you with it? Is it all recorded? You guys are mixing? What stage of the game are you at with new Megadeth music?
Being recorded. We started the basic tracks back in May and June, and then moved on to guitars and everything, and now into lyrics and vocals and all the overdubs and stuff. So yeah, being recorded now. So yeah, it's moving along. So as far as the release of it, I mean, I don't have a title. I don't have any song titles. I don't have any of that stuff yet. But it's I assume we'll be dropping it. Again, around touring. We've got tour stuff scheduled. June in Europe, July, August for Metal Tour of the Year. With Megadeth, Lamb of God, Trivium, and In Flames. The vaccine's coming out, so again, it's all TBD. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of one of the beautiful things this year. And even what Drew and I have been working on. I mean, this stuff. It's funny that you can do this stuff digitally now. You know what I mean? And you can go to Amazon. Amazon has basically saved the planet, right? Because whether you need a hair dryer or a Thriller book, it can show up, in the mail or via Amazon and. So it's been an interesting year of creativity, of being able to do things. I've made one record, at least the Ellefson No Cover record we did remotely from around the world, and that worked. It's not my preferred way to make records on that one. It actually worked very well. Megadeth, of course, were in the room. Drew and I were collaborating on some music stuff here as a bit of a soundtrack around the book. It's not going to come out, next week with the launch of the book, but kind of was a longer range thing to create some soundtrack music around that. So we actually did get together in LA back in July at Mike Heller's place, who plays in Raven and Fear Factory. So we got together there, and also with Vinny from Sponge. So we've got a little musical thing cooking on the side with this as well. So yeah, very, very cool, and that's being mixed right now. So we'll see where we can, land that. As we're looking at the year, there's schedules, but those schedules, again, we hope they'll stay as solid as they can for everybody. But everything is subject to change. So I think it's kind of one of these seasons in a creative, in the life of a creator, a content creator, if you will, I think it's kind of necessary to have a few things at the starting line, because you just don't know which one the gun's going to fire and which one may get pushed back a bit, And this music that you two are working on together that you're talking about, David, what is the title of the band or the project that the title is called Lucid. And it kind of has that. It's heavy. It's rocking. It's kind of a bit modern sounding. As you would probably expect with a guy like Vinny from Sponge singing on it. Anybody that knows Vin and his work, the guy's a total rock star. Great, just a vibe and a cool thing. Of course, me and Mike Heller come from very heavy, hard metal shredding stuff. And so I think sometimes it's fun for guys like me and Mike to deviate off that a little bit and do some things that don't have to be just always classified heavier than heavy metal stuff, So, but yeah, we hope to have, that out here in, hopefully earlier in 2021.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. So
looking forward to that.
Yeah, you'll like it as. If you're just a rock fan, a hard rock fan, you'll and obviously metal too, but you'll dig it. I've run it past a few people, and it's turned some heads, so it's nice,
Is it? Would you say it's in the same vein as the stuff you were doing with Frank Bello, the altitudes?
Some of it is. Some of it is a little bit. Yeah, some of it trends a little bit over by Altitudes and Attitude. Some of it gets kind of heavy in the sort of way that maybe '90s Megadeth would.
Okay.
which I think is fitting. That's kind of when Sponge came out in the 90s, you know, when they debuted, they were kind of that active rock 90s modern hard rock kind of sound.
Real great song. What was that? Wax Ecstatic? Was that?
Wax
that was
Ecstatic.
Yeah, that was a great tune.
Yeah.
That was a great tune.
So
I have
Vin
that on
brings
CD
it,
in the other room.
It's cool. It's an eclectic cast between me and Drew and Heller and Vin. It's you know, 2020's proved to be one of these years where you can just kind of, hey, throw it up in the air and let's see what happens. And I've been really lucky, man. The stuff that I've worked on has worked well. It's clicked, and you know, you kind of kindred spirits meet. You know, when it's like when people are ambitious, they want to do something. They're willing to step up and sometimes step outside of their comfort zone. You know, as most of the stuff that I've worked on in 2020, it's like, hey, man. You know, it's kind of survival of the fittest. Let's go. You know, let's just get in a room and shake it up and see what happens. So, yeah, this Lucid stuff is very cool, man. I'm definitely
can't wait
as we're listening to final mixes now this week. It's like, yeah, this really came out well.
So, Drew, kind of a off the beaten path question for you. I'm a big fan of Faith No More. Love that first record, and John has interviewed the late Chuck Mosley before he passed away for Talking Metal. I understand you have a history with him. Can you just share a little bit of that history with Chuck for a couple minutes?
Absolutely. I love Chuck very, very much. I was his guitar player for a brief moment, thanks to Tom Hazard, actually. And Chuck's manager / babysitter, Doug Esper, who's also in Dwellers, believe it or not. Everything's kind of connected. And me, and you know what's messed up is I only knew Chuck for 6 months up until he passed, but he had such an impact on me and became such a good friend for that time leading up. And like I never knew anybody could have that kind of impact on somebody, you know. So I really miss him very much. But I had an incredible time with Chuck. And I remember him and I and Tom Hazard and Steven Sherrill from Kick Tracy went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame together, and that was a fun moment to just walk around and just watch Chuck be like a little kid looking at the David Bowie stuff, you know, and kind of loosely working on a documentary on Chuck as well called Thanks and Sorry, the Chuck Mosley movie, and
wow, cool.
And so that's going to be really cool. But I had an incredible time playing with Chuck. It was funny, a quick little Chuck story. You know, obviously he played on he sang on the first two Faith No More albums. And we had such a blast together on the road. We had so much fun. And he was a big fan of irony. So I remember at the first rehearsal, I started playing the piano part to Epic on guitar. It was like a fingerstyle piece. And he was like, "What is that? That sounds familiar. Is that Metallica, the Chili Peppers or something? What is that?" And then he was like, "Oh." So we made it a part of the set where I play the piano part to Epic. Like that, we do the outro to Epic, and he just kind of does like a noise solo on guitar over it. It's really cool. I think that some of that's on YouTube actually. So, and we actually did do a Mike Patton era Faith No More song. We did "Take This Bottle" from King for a Day. Live and all that, but yeah, it's nothing but fond memories about Chuck. I can tell Chuck stories all day long. Like I said, even though I only knew him for 6 months, loved him very much and have many stories. Some of them actually, not to be like, you know, shameless self-promoter, but I kind of wrote a memoir a couple years ago as a goof because like everybody, you know, I was like, you know, and I have a lot of Chuck stories in there too, as well as how I got involved with Bang Tango and Flip and Sent from Mars and all the random bands I ended up playing with him and everything.
Oh,
Where can people get that?
You get it on Amazon, actually. Amazon.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, Drew, you've been involved with so many artists that I'm fans of, including Bryn from Flip and Chips Enough, and tell me about, and then you know, of course, Bang Tango. But I want to talk about Bryn and Chip. Tell me some stories about those guys because I love both of those guys.
Oh, I love him with all my heart as well. I actually got a band with him as well. This project called Zen from Mars. It's me, Bryn, Chip, Kate Catalina, Chip's wife on keys, Mike Heller from Fear Factory Raven, Lucid on drums, and Steven Sherrill from Kick Tracy on vocals. And we've been in the mixing stages on the album for about 5 years now, but it's finally almost done. But But yeah, Bryn, I absolutely love. He's an incredible guitar player and an incredible songwriter. Same goes with Chip as well, man. You know, Chip's he's like, he sounds like Krusty the Clown, but he sings like Paul McCartney. You know, like it's amazing. Love him. I love his vernacular too. His vocabulary.
For everybody
this trim.
Listening, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt you, Drew. For everybody, we're talking about Bryn Ahrens, and we're talking about the one and only Chip Z'Nuff. And I love how you said he's Krusty the Clown meets Paul McCartney.
Yeah, exactly. I hail you. Look at all that trim. And and Chip and I. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and actually, Bryn, I joined Flip for one show. It was supposed to be for a lot longer than that, but I was in Flip for one show, and it got recorded too. I think so. There may be the video of that somewhere. But I loved playing with Flip. It was an incredible experience. You know, those guys are amazing. And also to bring it back to David as well, Chip and I play on the No Cover record on the hidden bonus track. It's we play on Downed by Cheap Trick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Tom Hazard had reached out to Chip when we started putting the No Cover record together, and it kind of came in right at the last minute. In fact, we had when Drew and I were together with Mike Keller and Vin over in L.A. Mid-July. We had just started mixing the No Cover record, and Chip sent the track over. I listened to him like, he doesn't need us on this. He's like a one-man Cheap Trick band, you know. Chip is so cool, and he's got this nice dreamy, ethereal, you know, sound, and it's just, you know, it's like true acid rock. You just go in and get lost with Chip, you know. And but me and Drew played on it, and so yeah, we actually put it as this bonus kind of 19th. If you listen to disc 2 of the No Cover album, at the very end of it, there's that. So we'll probably pull that over. I don't know. Maybe we'll even use that with Lucid at some point. We'll have it as a B-side in some
it's on the Ellefson No Cover album.
Oh yeah, and I got a lot of there's a lot of Chip Z'Nuff stories in my memoir too. It's called Dark, Depressing, and Hilarious. And if you like Chip, you'll get a kick out of a lot of the stories in there, for sure.
I gotta check that out.
I used to go to his house almost every day. I practically lived there because I used to live in Chicago, and he was kind of like down the street from me a little bit. So he was like, "Bro, just go over whenever you want," and I did, and it was always smoky, and it was it was a lot of contact high for sure. Jesus.
Right.
You know what? I love. Here's the cool thing, and I want to. And this is about both of you guys. But David, you have like your Megadeth crew, but you have another network of people, including Drew and Tom Hazard, and then the ancillary people that are connected to those guys. And I really like that network. You guys have, when you all get together, you do a lot of great things for rock and metal, and you put a lot of cool stuff out, and I love that, and I just think it's cool that you kind of have like multiple lives. Like you've got your Megadeth life, but then you've got this life that you're the center of, and then you're working out from there as well. And Tom is a really important part of it too.
I appreciate that, yeah, because you know, when you're a career musician and a career artist, and obviously in a career band, which Megadeth is, you know, it goes through its own transitions, you know, that we've seen, and you know, as we all get older, you know, you kind of don't want to leave something on the table, you know. Our friend Ace Frehley, his book No Regrets, I always love the title of that. It sits in my shelf over here, and that's kind of a reminder, no regrets, you know. My mom and dad and my brother are gone. I'm the last standing. Go figure, the young rock and roll rebel, you know, would be the last guy standing. And it, you know, as I watched them pass, you know, it just reminded me, it's like, if not now, when, you know, so do it now, get on it, and write the book, you know, do the movie, you know, create the soundtrack, start the record label, you know, you like coffee, great, start a coffee company, you know. So these things they're all born of passion. And that's why, you know, I wake up in the morning and the to-do list is all stuff I like to do. And you're right, we're friends. We enjoy, you know, it's all kind of just real life Wayne's World in real time, you know. And you know,
I really do.
Yeah, it's really it's fun, you know, and I think that's the main thing is, you know, when I got into music, they called it playing music. It wasn't work, it was playing, you know, as we're just trying to avoid having to go to school and get a real job. And, you know, all these years later, I think we're doing okay, you know?
Yeah, I think you are too. And David, I don't know if I told you this. I moved from the time you were on Talking Metal on this video show before I moved into a new place, and now I have new things, including a coffee grinder and a new machine. So now that I'm more serious about it, I'm going to be ordering from you. So
nice. I know a guy. We can hook you up. We can get some coffee over to you. Yeah.
Hey, hey, David, we do, and Drew, we do have to wrap it up here in just a few minutes. But before you guys were on with us, we had Jason Bieler, who said hello, David, to you, and told us that you are involved with his new album, Songs for the Apocalypse. Could you maybe just for a minute or two talk about working with Jason on that album?
Well, I'll tell you what I wrote for him. He is a modern day Frank Zappa. He is just one of the most eclectic, just intriguing artists. The track I played on, I think Bumblefoot's on it, the drummer from Skindred. I played on 2 tracks, actually. And it's funny, as I was sitting there, I went down to John Aquilino's studio here in town, guitar player from Icon. He's got a great studio here that I work at a lot in Phoenix. And we were both sitting there. And John's a big music fan, of course. And there's moments where I was just going, man, this is like Yes 90125 meets like some kind of like jungle rhythms meets Soulfly meets, it was just this combination of stuff. Yeah. And it was so fun to play on. So I love that is a hard left turn record. And in such a melodic, cool way, lyrically, Jason's just got worlds going on up in that head of his, man. I mean, he's there's a lot going on up there. And of course, he's a brilliant musician and player. And we know his Saigon Kick hits and everything. So yeah, that is definitely a record to check out for sure. That was a thrill to play on that.
He's a very attractive and powerful man.
I love the quote. I said the same thing to him. I said, I can't even imagine what's going on in your head when you're putting a track like this together. I said the same exact thing, David, because I only heard one song and I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. But you described it perfectly, modern day Frank Zappa, and I think that's great. And
he really is, man. He's off the chain. Yeah.
You guys have so much cool stuff going on too, Drew. I'm so happy that you've come on and you're a friend of ours now, and I can't wait till we're all back out on the road somewhere together and we're seeing some live music. But in the meantime, while we're home, the book and like I said, the Chronicles. I'm ready for the series. It's like nowadays with this streaming and binge watching, like I might get the book and I want the second book like before that's out. Like, so you guys got to get moving because I want to experience it all now. Like
it's well underway. Just so you know, I can't promote book 2 yet, but believe me, Drew and I are way deep in it. It's
okay.
It's almost done. Yeah, we're rocking it. So yeah,
that's great to hear, guys.
And that's it's when creativity hits, you just go. I mean, that's one thing about being home. Is you're not distracted. It's just like, hey man, like I burned my hole in my eyeballs the other day writing like 3 or 4 chapters for something. Actually, there's another book Drew hit me on, and he was like, we just started spitballing on an idea about something. I was like, dude, I'm on it, and I just started riffing, and I was like 4 chapters in, I was like, okay, I gotta like go to bed now. I'm like freaking so but that's I love that. It's like that's kind of what we're on the planet to do, man. Just whip stuff up out of nowhere.
Well, I love it. Thank you both for taking the time to come on. We can't wait to get it in our hands. And thanks again, guys. And we hope to see you both back here real soon on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Take care, David. Take care, Drew.
Bye,
all right. And we will have links up in the show notes where you can connect with Drew and David and find out about the book and the movie and all that. So that's in the podcast version, which again, probably I might sit on the podcast version for this for a while, but we will get this up on YouTube pretty much immediately. So I think what we did last time was we left the show in full up and then I cut up the interviews. So I think we'll probably do that again.
I think that'd be great because the show today, it all kind of tied together. We talked to
flowed really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason and, David and Drew, they all know each other. And David, of course, knows Ace. And I know, all these guys, including Bryn Aarons and Chips Enough. And so it was very, very cool. And then we even tied Emily in, who knows Jason. So it was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Special
big
thanks to
thanks
our
to
crew.
to the crew, Marcy and Jonathan, Andrew, Michael, everyone who's helped out. We really sincerely appreciate your help on this. And yeah, man, let's do it again. Let's do it
I
again.
know,
Maybe
I know. This was a
another
really
two,
good
3
one.
weeks we'll do another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, and most of all, thanks to everybody who was watching this. Let's see if I know we got to wrap it up, but let's take a quick peek and see what the comments are like. We got David Craig Ellis, Bob Bobbitt, Lisa Colbert, who is my friend from 1987. My Aunt Patty, Scott Marshall, Jason L., my good buddy, sometimes known as Jason the Cop. We've got John.
Oh, Jason the Cop. I remember him
Romero.
from previous episodes.
Yeah, Jason the Cop. Yeah,
I was trying to scroll the YouTube thing, but my computer's. Oh, there.
Yeah, you know, mine's acting a little weird too today. But anyway, I think we had a great show. Thanks to Ace Fraley for coming on. I just got a text from Ace, and he was happy to come on the show. And
yeah, thank you for hooking up Ace on the show. So I mean,
I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I know that you know, Ace has been concentrating heavy duty on the studio. And it's not like he's just sitting upstairs and there's a construction group downstairs. Ace is actually physically getting involved, and he designed the whole place. And he has this vision in his head of what he wants it like. And he doesn't just direct you. He's not just producing it. He's actually physically executing it as well. That's my new favorite word, executing. And I don't mean like as in an execution. I mean like you execute the project and you get it done. And
right.
I like it.
Yeah.
My word.
Yeah. Cool. All right, John. Well, we will wrap it up. We will encourage everyone to connect with you on Facebook, and you're not as active on Twitter. I noticed you don't.
No, I should be, but I'm not. I'm going to get more active on it. I think.
You have your website too, astronomy.net.
Yes, astronomy.net is my website.
A wealth of astronomy history on there. So.
Yeah, it's an astronomy historical site. Follow me on Facebook, guys. I have 6 Facebook pages. I'm going to attempt to dwindle that down to 2, but I can't get in touch with anyone at Facebook to help me with this.
Right.
And I want 2, not 6 pages. And there's John Astronomy 2, John Astronomy 3, and then there's Astronomy 2, Astronomy 3. It's ridiculous. So there's 6 pages.
Wow. And you have to go post the same thing on each one of those pages?
Sometimes I do, yeah. And sometimes I don't post on certain pages, and then I try to send out a note to everybody saying, you know, try to go to another page, but it's just a real mess. What I need to happen is I need Facebook to merge pages, which is there is such a thing as merging pages, and I'm not quite sure why I'm unable to do that myself. So I'm it's in the works. It's in the works. So I can have a personal page and a artist page. That's what I want, but not 3 personal pages and 3 artist pages.
Gotcha. All right. Well, big thanks to Jason Bieler, Ace Fraley, David Ellefson, Drew Fortier for joining us. It's been an awesome show, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Okay. And thanks, Mark. I think it's a great show. Thanks, crew. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, all of you viewers and listeners. And we wish you happy holidays and all that good stuff, as Ace said. And we will see you real soon.